Hey everybody, it is Monday, May 13th, and we're off today for our Monday Live. And this one is going to be kind of like a random one. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me know where you're from. Say hello when you hop on. I have some comments I'm going to respond to from parents. So as I put reels up, people have comments. I can't always get to them all. I try my best to respond as I can. But some of them I thought would be great just to answer here. So I'm sure it'll help other people to learn as I'm responding to a specific parent. All right, so that's going to happen. But before we get into that, a few things. One, again, thank you for the drawings that you continue to send in for the 365 Common Sense Parenting Tips ebook that I am in process of completing. The goal date for that is May 31st, but I'm hoping to have that done sooner. I'm about a fourth of the way through the book already. And as these drawings are coming in, oh my gosh, they are so adorable. I'm loving it. So I'm putting them in on each page. Hopefully I'll have enough for every page to have a drawing that are coming in. I love it. Thank you. And again, if you're going to submit them, do me a favor. Please make sure you take the picture over top, looking down over the picture, because some of them are coming in kind of at an angle and then it skews it when I'm trying to edit it to fit it to the page. So please keep that in mind. I have about 50 of them right now. So, hey, okay, people are coming in. Hello, hello. Good to have you here. And the other question I have for you is, so right now I'm doing these lives at Monday at 12:15 Eastern Standard Time, which is fine because I picked my grandson up on Mondays at 1 o'clock. However, that's going to end in 2 weeks. He's done with school, and next year he'll be in kindergarten, so there won't be a need for that. So I'm open to switching the time. So I'd love your input. So in the comment section, I'm thinking of maybe Sundays at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. That way it'll cover most of the time zones, I'm hoping. So just shoot in there like yes, if you think that would work for you, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And I'm open to other suggestions, so feel free to put them in there if you want to. Okay, let's get into some of the comment slash clarification slash just my random thoughts off the top of my head. Okay, hey Donna, hey Raphael, I've got some people hopping in here. This is great. I love it. Thank you, Donna. Thank you. Donna said she loves the parenting tips. Thank you. I love doing these. You know, they're not for everybody. Not everybody agrees with me. That's cool. You don't have to agree with me. I just want to share my experience parenting. And if it helps you, great. If you don't agree with it, you don't have to. It's cool. But I still want to, have this community that we're building of people who are sharing ideas. And what's really cool is I just did a reel this morning about eating, kids being picky. Toddlers typically are, for the most part. It can be. And so I was noticing some of the comments where moms were giving opinions and advice to other moms. So it's really encouraging to see that. And that's what I want to have here. That's the foundation I want to build with all of this is parents are helping parents. I think it's awesome. I wished I had I had a great parent, right? My mom and dad were great. Mom, awesome. But there were times, and I didn't live near my parents when I had children. I was states away. It would have been nice to have somebody to just go, hey, help. Help. I would call my mom sometimes, but sometimes you're right in the moment. It would be nice. All right. So let's get into this. I did a reel maybe mid-April about not forcing your children to learn. And, the kids learn naturally through play. They're going to learn all this stuff, I promise. And that reel, as of about half an hour ago, has had 8 million views. So clearly that touched a nerve with people. But I thought people just kind of understood this. But I think I need to clarify. And again, those reels are 60 seconds. There's only so much you can say in those. What I was trying to say was children learn naturally. They learn through doing. So it doesn't have to be sit them down at the table, give them a worksheet, flash those flashcards at them. That's not really learning. That's just forcing them. And if they learn through play, if it's fun for them, they're going to stick. It's going to stick. Okay, so I shot a reel where, let's see who else is coming in. I shot a reel where, oh, someone from the Philippines, hello. A couple people, hello. I did a reel where I had my grandson at the soccer field and he had two vehicles and we talked about the colors and we talked about how many wheels were on there. We counted. We talked about big and little and fast. So that's how children learn. And if your child loves to learn, encourage that. If you have a child who wants to sit down and draw or do things, that's fine. My whole point of that reel was don't force them. Because when you force them, it no longer is fun. And we don't want that to happen, especially at a young age. We want them to be like so excited about learning that they can't wait to do things. And that can happen. You can be sitting down eating dinner and saying, let's count how many vegetables we have on a plate. You see how simple this is? I mean, I don't have to belabor this. I think y'all get it. But my point is, just make it fun and don't force them to learn. There's nothing worse than that. And kids only have a certain period of time to be children. And then it's like they're in school and then it's just drilled into them all the time until they're adults. So make this time like special for them and teach them through play and naturally. And I promise you, they will learn this. They will be okay. All right? Okay. Let me take a second here to see the comments. Hello, hello. Oh, hey, preschool teacher. Hey, Jenny Lynn. Awesome. Hey, Chris. Adina from Germany. Hey. This is awesome to see everybody coming in. I'll tell you what, if you have any questions, let me just tell you, I'm checking up to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay. Because once I get into this, I'm not able to check these as often. But if you have any questions that you would like me to answer, pop them in the comments section, and I'll do my best to get to them. I have my list that I want to go over, but I'm happy to bounce off of that to get to your comments. Okay. Let me do this first. So my granddaughter is 7, and I asked her to draw pictures for the ebook, and I'm going to show you 2 she gave me yesterday. Okay, this is one. She takes ballet, so that's, I guess, her and her little tutu. I love how one leg is kicked out to the side. And then this one, yeah, this is like, I guess, a cake and somebody, I don't know, maybe at a birthday party. I just thought it was cute. All right, so 1 or 2 of those will go in the ebook. Anyway, okay, when we talked about, I think it was last week, boundaries and consequences, and I posted a reel yesterday. If you've not seen it, go back and listen to it. It's a child psychiatrist, and he said there are 2 rules for parenting: be firm and be kind. That's it, firm and kind. You don't have to yell at them. You have to shame them. You don't have to spank them. You don't have to humiliate your children. You don't have to be mean or nasty. Be firm and be kind. And that's how I raised my children. I was firm, but I was kind. But that also includes boundaries and consequences. And he alluded to that. He said children need boundaries. They need to know what their limits are. That makes them feel safe. That makes them feel secure. They need boundaries, but they also need to know if they violate that boundary, what's going to happen. So let me just tell you, I had a comment from a mom that said, our 5-year-old just won't listen to us. My husband and I, we don't know why, and we're having problems, and she's 5. And my first thought was, holy cow, she's 5, and you're still having a problem with her. Clearly that started a while ago. Now, I'm not judging the parent. I'm just saying that's stuff you start teaching them young. And that's why I always say start teaching them young. And I get pushback from some people on it, but that's okay. Everyone has their own thoughts on parenting. But I'm going to give you an example. So yesterday, I babysat my 3 grandchildren, 7, 4, and 2.5. Their parents were going off to see a comedy show about 4 hours away, and I had the kids and I spent the night. They wanted to go to a local ice cream shop, and I said, sure. They're really well-behaved kids. Let me just say this. The 2.5-year-old sweet, but he's 2.5, but they're really well-behaved children, thank goodness. So I load them up in the van, but before we pulled out of the driveway, I said this. Guys, we're going to the ice cream shop. It's Mother's Day, so it's likely to be pretty crowded. So here's the rules. Now, I always explain to them, these are Jeep rules. They call me Jeep. These are Jeep rules. Because Mom and Dad might have different, right? So they're very clear. These are my rules. When we go to the ice cream shop, I expect you to be on your best behavior because you all know how to behave and you always do a great job. But I just want to remind you, we're going to go in. We're going to go in the line. You're going to pick your ice cream. We're going to go sit at the table and we're going to eat. If you start fighting between you, what we're going to do, if we haven't ordered the ice cream yet, we're just going to turn around and leave. But if we've ordered it and we're sitting down eating and you guys start fighting, and not getting along causing problems, the ice cream's going to go in the trash and we're going to get in the van and we're going to come home. Clear? Everybody clear on that? They all said, yeah, sure, not a problem. And guess what they did? We went in. There were a lot of people there. They got in line. Now the 2.5-year-old, he was kind of playing around in the t-shirts that were hanging there, so I just picked him up. And they nicely ordered their ice cream. They got it. I said, please go sit at the table. They sat down, waited for me to pay. We all sat. We ate our ice cream. We had a wonderful time. Now, did the 2.5-year-old sit there with us? Yeah, he had his ice cream. He sat there and ate it all. Didn't get down one time. He was happy. I mean, we explained to him what needed to be done. This is the same 2.5-year-old that I had in the restaurant that squealed very loudly, that people thought I was being harsh on when I told him, if you don't stop that, we're going to leave. But guess what? They were great. We all had a wonderful time. We cleaned up and we were done. We got in the van, off we went. It was a wonderful experience for everybody. So I let them know ahead of time. Here's the boundary. If you do this, this is what's going to happen. And again, I'll tell you, like I said in the restaurant video, and that thing had, I don't know, 2.5 million views or something. It's crazy. If they had fought, the first time, I wouldn't have given them a second time because I'd already told them very nicely how I expect them to behave. If they had started fighting, I would have said, put your ice cream in the trash, let's go, we got to go home. I wouldn't have yelled, I wouldn't have screamed, nothing. We'd just say, okay, you knew what the rule was, you broke it, time to go. Done. End of story. That's how I operate. Those are my Jeep rules, and everything went well. Okay. Somebody asked me to talk about, let me make sure there's no questions here in the comments. Romania, Louisiana, good. Scotland, yeah, I'm loving it. Homeschooling ADD child, excellent. Thank you. Okay, let's see this one. Hold on. I need help. Explain to my grandchild I have custody of. I bought his father missing and or murdered. Wow. He's 7. He's very intelligent in first grade, makes great grades. Okay, on this one, that's a tough one because you don't want to say, I probably need more information on this one. I would say find a therapist on this one to bounce this off of, because this is a very, very critical stage for a child and age, and this is a very heavy topic. So I wouldn't just blurt out anything. I would make sure you talk to a therapist and figure out the best way to tell him this. And I'm sorry that you're having to deal with this, and for you and for him and for his father. Prayers for you all, but that's what I would say on that one, okay? Because I don't know him, I don't know the situation, and I don't want to say too much other than that. Okay, on to being your child's first teacher. So I did a reel about you are your child's first teacher. You teach your child how to behave at home so that when they go to school, they know how to behave. That it's not the teacher's job to manage your child's behavior when they're in school. Yes, if your child's acting out, the teacher can address it, but that should not consume that teacher's day, is managing behaviors of all these children who were not taught how to behave at home and are now coming into school thinking they can do whatever they want, and it's distracting everybody from learning. That's not how it's supposed to work. So, as a parent, that is your responsibility to teach your child how to behave at home. I don't know how else to sugarcoat that or say it. It just is. And I'm pretty direct, so I'm just going to tell you directly, that's your job. It's not always easy, but that is your job. Teachers should not have to be teaching your children how to behave when they're in school. And that's why we're at the situation we are in this country now. And I don't know how it is in other countries, but we have teachers fleeing the public school system left and right because they're not getting support from the administration. And parents are not doing their job teaching their children how to behave. I was raised that when you go to school, you respect that teacher. And if I got in trouble at school, which I never would dare to do because I was taught how to respect the teachers, that I knew when I got home, I would have an issue. Now, my parents didn't spank us, didn't yell at us, but they would have sat down and talked to us about what they expect from us, how we are supposed to behave when we're out at school or in public. There was just a standard they expected, and that's what we did because that's what we were taught. It's not hard. You just have to make sure you teach them from a very young age, which is why people, when I said about my 2.5-year-old grandson in the restaurant that I would make him leave if he squealed again, because let me back up here for a minute. People were saying, well, why did he squeal? Did you check to see why he squealed? Was he hurt? Okay. No, he was not hurt. He's 2.5. Went in the restaurant. He thought it would be fun. He had played all morning at an indoor play place, lots of energy out, so it was not that. Okay, he squealed. And when I said, you need to stop, that hurts my ears, hurts other people's, inside quiet voice, please. And he did, but then he looked at me like a little bit later, and I could see it in his eyes, and he squealed really loud again on purpose. Okay. And at that point, I said, if you do it again, we will leave. And I would have. And he didn't, because he knew I meant it. And he stopped, and we had a great lunch. He loves this place. He wanted to go to this place. He would not want to leave. So it worked. That consequence worked in that situation. But it's the same thing with your children. You teach them how to behave, and that's why I've started him at 2.5. His parents have. And people said, well, you're not his parent. You're his grandparent. Exactly. And when he's with me, that's my job. That's my job to parent them, grandparent him how to behave. That's what you have to do. You start young. You don't let them get away with stuff. And then when they're 4 and 5, start trying to teach them how they need to behave. They need to learn that at a young age. Okay? Otherwise, you have problems on your hands when they get older. And we all have seen those children in school. Okay? Great at the job. Good. Teachers, good. Let's see. Half the seniors were rebellious. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm just reading some of these comments. Give me a second here. My 20-year-old son noticing crutches on the person report. Task of working because he's shy. I don't know what crutch is. I don't know what that means. So if you could clarify it for that for me, Shanice. Okay, let's see what else. Hello, wherever you are. Okay, is there a replay that I need to put my baby to bed? Oh, yes, this will come up. As soon as I'm done, this drops onto Facebook and will be up there for you to view it. But I am in the middle of revising my website for PamelaPalanza.com, and all of these lives, I'm hoping to download them on there. So if you've missed them, you'll be able to go back and just look at the live section and not have to scroll through all of my reels, okay, to see them. Retired ECE teacher, whoop, whoop, I love it. Did that for 40 years. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. So I don't want to belabor that child's first teacher thing. And I had parents disagree. They'd say, that's not my job. Here's what I would hear. Well, they're in school, 6-7 hours a day. That's the teacher's job. No, that's your job. And the teacher's job is to call them on it or correct them if they're misbehaving, not to teach them how to behave. And unfortunately, that's what we're seeing a lot of times. And I will tell you, I used to work with kids with differing abilities. So I understand that. But when I hear from teachers that say when one child in the class is acting out, the whole class has to evacuate, no. That child should be removed from the room. And the other children can continue learning and not be distracted and not be, upset about what they're seeing. I just don't understand the mentality of that. That's just my opinion. Okay. I did a reel about doing laundry, teaching your children at a young age to do laundry. And my children, when they were like 6-7 years old, now I worked a full-time job. My husband worked full-time. He was actually in school. He quit his job at the age of 35 to go back to school to be a psychologist, which he is today. So we had a lot of responsibilities, and we taught our children how to do their own laundry. This was not difficult, and it teaches them life skills. And I think it's equally important that your daughter and your son both know how to take care of themselves. And I always taught my children, my job is to teach you how to be an independent young adult, that you don't need a spouse or a partner to take care of you, that you can do things for yourself. And if you choose to have a spouse or a partner, awesome. But if not, you can cook and clean and do laundry and all those other things that are required. So we started them. I had, at that point, 2 boys and a girl. And then 14 years later, I had my last child. But we taught them all how to do their own laundry. And that was their responsibility. And if their clothes weren't clean, oh well, they went to school with dirty clothes. And guess what they learned very quickly? How to manage their time and get their laundry done. If they had that special shirt they wanted to wear the next day, you better get in the laundry tonight. Now, some people have scheduled a day. If you have multiple children, they schedule a day of the week. Like Sunday's your day to do your laundry. Get it done Sunday or you don't get it done, right? So however you want to do that with your family, I think it's real important. It teaches them life skills. It teaches them time management. It teaches them responsibility. It teaches them independence. I think it's awesome. And let me just piggyback on here and talk about having your children do chores. So I have on my website, on my Stand store, you can go to stand.store/Pam Palanza. There is a free responsibility chart that you can download on there. And again, that's STAN.store, STORE /Pam, capital PALANZA, just all together. Look for the responsibility chart and you can download that. Instead of calling them chores, because that sounds like, oh, I gotta do chores. No, responsibilities. You're part of this family. We all work together to keep this engine running. So here's your responsibilities. And you list them for each child. They all have their own. They're going to differ depending on their age. Here's what you're responsible for doing. Cleaning up your room, feeding the dog, taking the trash out, emptying the dishwasher, whatever it is. And then when they do it, and you have this discussion as a family, right? And so you're all agreeing on what needs done. I call them like agreements. You all agree what needs done. And then as they do it, they check it off. Because that physical action of checking it off is very reinforcing to say like, wow, I finished that. I got that done. So download that. Use it for your children. Put laundry on there. Now, some people said, no, I want my children to be free when they're kids and not worry about that till they're older. That's fine. Personal choice. I just chose to start mine young. So you be you, but whatever. Okay. I had a question. Okay, we've got about 10 minutes left here. I had a question about the door. I don't know if you all saw that video I did. A lady had done a reel, I think on Instagram maybe, I don't even remember, where her teenage daughter got angry at her and yelled at her and then slammed the door in the mom's face. And the mom chose to handle it by doing nothing at that point. She said she just had to regulate herself and then let her daughter regulate. And then on the way to school, she just said, do you want to talk about it? The daughter said no, but apparently on the way home, they had a discussion. Now, at no point in that video did I ever hear the mother say she said anything to the daughter about the door slamming, and she may have, right? She's not enough time on those reels to go into your life story. My reaction was, no way. No way is a child slamming a door in my face. Not happening. So people said, well, what would you do? I would take the door off. Now, let me back this up. If you have a young child, 4, 5, 6, 7, you have a discussion. They're young. They may not understand at that point that's not acceptable. So you have to let them know, like, hey, that is not cool. You have every right to be angry, but you can go in your room and calm down. Slamming a door in my face is disrespectful and I'm not going to tolerate it. Period. Right? At least I don't. That's up to you, but I don't tolerate that. That's very disrespectful. So they said, what would you do? Now, if this is a teenager, middle school teenager, they know how they're supposed to behave. And I get it that their hormones are raging. They're going through puberty and school can be overwhelming and all the stuff that goes on. But here's the deal. It's still not acceptable. So in that case, even though the child was angry and just slammed the door in my face, I would calmly open that door and I would say, you know what? You're allowed to be angry, but you're not allowed to slam the door in my face. This is your one and only warning. And if you do it again, you're going to lose the door. And walk away. Very kindly, walk away. Because you can't get into much of discussion. The child's angry and upset. And you know yourself, if you're angry or upset, you're not hearing what people are saying. But you're handling it immediately by going in, calmly telling her, this is my boundary and this is the consequence, and then shutting the door. Let her calm down and regulate herself. Him or her, whatever. And a lot of people said that's what I did. One dad said he burned the door out in the yard. Other people said they just hung a curtain up. And a lot of people said, make them earn the door back. You handle it however you want to. If you have a child that you know, if I take that door off one time, they're probably never going to do it again, do that. And then you decide the time frame for you to put the door back on. That's, you know your child. I don't. You know what works for your child best, so you decide on that. Now, I have one lady that said she did it and took the door off and then put it back on after a week. The daughter slammed the door again. She took it off for 2 weeks. So you see the pattern here. This went on 5 times. There's no way. That door would have come off and she would have had to earn it back. And again, you decide what works for you and your family for the child to earn it back. Is that doing extra chores? Is that mowing the lawn? Is that doing community service in the community to learn respect? Whatever it is you decide, make them earn it back. It's a privilege to have a door on your bedroom. You're privileged to have a bedroom and a roof over your head and food in your stomach, right? Kids take it for granted. They don't understand their children. Very egocentric, all about them. So you have to teach them. And you're not mean about it and you're not harsh about it. You just say, well, here was the boundary. You broke it. Here's the consequence. Because, and I have a few minutes left, and this is really important. If you do not do that, or you don't teach your kids at a young age, here's how you're expected to do. Here's what the boundary. Here's what happens if you don't do it. And then you don't follow through. And this piece is extremely critical. You are teaching your child, you're setting them up for failure. You're teaching them that they don't have to listen and that people are going to bend over backwards and that they're entitled. Okay, let's have a little scenario here. You let your child get away with everything when they're little. Yeah, you tell them you have a boundary. They don't pay attention. You don't do anything to reinforce it. Now they've grown up to know that what they want is most important and they don't have to listen to anybody. Now you have a child who's at university, say, or on the work, at work. And I literally had one girl say to me in a comment, I wished my parents had parented me like you say to do because I'm in the workforce now and I struggle. Okay. And I'm sure she's not the only one. So now they're in university, they're at work. And someone says to them, there's a deadline at work, say. Here's a deadline, we need you to get this project done. Or the professor says, hey, your term paper's due on this date. And if you don't get it done by this date, you're going to lose a letter grade. And then your child doesn't do their assignment, and the professor's like, where's your work? Oh, I couldn't get to it. I was busy. I couldn't get to it. I just didn't get to it. Great. Now you're going to drop a letter grade. What? You're going to drop what? Come on. Can we? No negotiation. This is the consequence. This is what happens when you break the boundary. Same thing at work. Your boss says, I need you to get this work done, and your child goes, I don't feel like I'm going to do something else instead. It's all about me. The world revolves around me, and I don't want to do it, so I'm not going to do it. And the boss says, you're fired. And then your kids go, what? I got fired because I didn't do my what? Okay, now I'm getting a little extreme here, but you see what I'm saying? Start teaching them young. Okay, one last comment for me, and then I'm going to check on some of these. Mom shaming. I did a reel about mom shaming the other day because I see that a lot. Like I put reels up and I'm telling you my opinion. And like I said, you agree, you don't agree, that's cool. I am so open to discussion. I welcome people saying, no, here's how I do it. This is what I think. I love that because we all learn from each other. But what I really have an issue with is when people are being nasty to other people on my reels and they're in comments and they're saying nasty things to other parents, usually other moms. Rarely do I have dads on there. So I just felt very important to say we shouldn't mom shame. You don't know what anybody's going through. You don't know the situation they have. You don't know the children they have. You don't know what issues they're dealing with every day. You don't know if they're having a bad day. I mean, honestly, not every day is wonderful as a parent. Some of them just stink, outright stink. And you just can't wait to go to bed and wake up the next day and hope it's going to be better, right? I'm being real with you here. I remember, see all these gray hairs? Okay. I earned every single one of them, right? And my kids were great kids. But parenting is not for sissies. My grandfather always used to tell me aging is not for sissies. And I'm telling you right now, parenting is not for sissies. So let's support each other. Let's support other moms. Let's not mom shame or let's not blast each other, please. Especially on my reels. I would appreciate if you don't. If you can't say anything nice, this is another piece of advice my mother gave me. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything. That's an easy one. Okay, let me look through the comment sections. And let me just say, if I don't get to answer these right now, I will answer these. Usually it'll probably be tonight or tomorrow by the time I can get to them. After I go see my grandson. Let's see, UK, hello. Nebraska, shout out from Philippines, Colorado. Oh, Joan, I wish more parents would listen to me. Seriously, everybody does something different, but I just think that a lot of people call it boomer parenting or old school parenting. I think there was something to it, and I've talked about the whole gentle parenting movement. I don't totally disagree with it, but I'm not really enamored of it. And I think people are going too far the wrong way with it. And that's why we're having a lot of issues we're having today. That's just my opinion. Okay, Alabama, Orlando, Florida. Awesome. Canada, hey. Okay, 2 girls. Okay, Philippines. I love it. It's okay to get upset. Yeah, you know what? It is okay, Amy. I said that in my reel, like, I made a comment and somebody goes, well, you're making it all about you. You're telling her she's not supposed to disrespect you. What about her? I'm like, because it is about me, because this is my house. I pay the bills. I make the rules. She can get angry or he can get angry, but they're not going to disrespect me when they're angry. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. So yeah, that is about me. She can calm her little behind down in the bedroom, or he can calm his behind down in the bedroom, but they're not slamming a door in my face. It's just that simple. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Philippines, Virginia, West Virginia. I'm originally from Pittsburgh. I used to go through West Virginia and we'd make trips back home to PA to visit. Okay, daycare test. Okay, let's see. Shanice, I'm going to catch this real quick. We have a few minutes. Oh, no, we're almost done. 2.5 years son, daycare. Some of the tests he does at home is a work in progress at daycare. It could be. It could be he's watching other children and he doesn't feel like he can do as well as they do or something, or he's just a little shy, and that's common. That'll come around. Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that one. All right, y'all. I have to check out to go get my grandson. Please let me know in the comments if 7:30 on Sundays would work for you, maybe for a live, or suggest some other times. And come back next Monday, 12:15. I'll be here then. And as always, remember, hug and love your babies.